Jeff and his family had just moved into a new neighborhood. His dad had gotten a promotion at work, and they thought it would be best to live in one of those fancy neighborhoods. Jeff didn't really care. He just wanted to fit in and make some friends. But that was hard. Jeff got bullied a lot. One night, Jeff and his brother Liu went out to a party with some friends, and a group of bullies confronted them. Jeff tried to stay calm, but things got out of hand. The bullies beat Jeff badly and poured bleach and alcohol on his face, then set him on fire. Jeff survived, but his face was badly burned. When the doctors took the bandages off, Jeff saw his reflection and didn't recognize himself. His skin was ghostly white, his hair burned black, and his lips bright red like a permanent smile. His eyes looked wide open, but he had carved his eyelids off so he could never close them. Jeff went crazy. He laughed maniacally, whispering, "Go to sleep," over and over. That night, Jeff killed his parents quietly. When his brother Liu came home, Jeff told him, "Go to sleep." Then Jeff attacked. After that, Jeff disappeared. People say he sneaks into houses at night, stands at the foot of beds, never blinking, always whispering, "Go to sleep." If you ever hear a whisper like that at night, don't look, just go to sleep.
I used to work the night shift at a 24-hour convenience store, midnight to 6 a.m. It was boring, mostly drunk people, truckers, and the occasional thief. But last week, something happened I can't explain. At exactly 3:17 a.m., the bell above the door rang. I looked up. Nobody was there. The door was wide open, but the parking lot was empty. No cars, no wind, just silence. Then I heard it. Footsteps inside the store, but the aisles were empty. I grabbed the phone to call my manager. Deadline. I checked my cell. No signal. The footsteps grew louder, circling the aisles until they stopped right behind me. I turned. No one. Then the overhead speakers clicked on. Static at first, then a voice. My voice. It said, "Don't turn around again." I froze. My body refused to move. The reflection in the freezer glass wasn't mine anymore. It was grinning. When the sun rose, the police found me outside, sitting on the curb. The store lights were off, the doors chained shut. And here's the part I can't live with. That convenience store burned down in 1998. And I've never worked there. The man in my photos. I've always liked taking photos of myself. Not out of vanity, I just liked keeping track of little moments, documenting my life, capturing pieces of time. But a few months ago, something started happening in those photos. At first, it was barely noticeable. A faint blur, like the corner of a shadow, nothing more than a trick of the light. I ignored it. Cameras glitch, right? Then it got worse. Every week or so, the blur became clearer. A silhouette, then shoulders, then a face, always behind me, always staring at the lens. A man. I never saw him in the room, only in the photos. I thought it was a prank. I checked my mirrors, my windows, my phone's camera roll. No tampering, just me and him. By the fifth week, he was standing closer. His face didn't look right. It was stretched, as if the camera had pulled his skin too tight. His eyes were small and flat, like something had pressed them into place. And yet, every time, his gaze locked directly onto mine. I tried deleting the photos. They came back. I tried switching phones. He followed. I even tried taking group photos. No one else noticed him. Only me. I stopped sleeping properly. I taped over my cameras. I avoided mirrors. But I couldn't avoid the urge to check. Just one more photo to see if he was still there. He always was. Closer. And then tonight, I did something stupid. I tried to take a photo in complete darkness, thinking maybe he wouldn't appear without light. When the flash went off, my phone froze. It wouldn't load the image, just a black screen. For a full minute, I stared at it, waiting. Then slowly, the picture formed. There was no room, no walls, no me. Only him. His face filled the entire frame, his teeth bared in something that wasn't quite a smile. And when I dropped the phone in panic, the screen stayed on. His face is still there, watching me, even though my phone is powered off. Slenderman Creepypasta story. Slender Man at the park. After waking up with a jolt, the girl laid in bed a few seconds longer. Reaching over to switch on her bedside lamp, she tried to remember exactly what had stolen her sweet slumber away. When she couldn't, the brunette swung her legs over the side of the bed and heaved herself up. Checking the time on her phone, she snorted when she saw it was midnight. The witching hour. Knowing that sleep would only evade her, she left her bedroom for the kitchen, a good cup of coffee on her mind. As she passed by her front door, a chill spread like liquid fire down her spine. It's only winter, she told herself, focusing again on the coffee plan. Measuring out scoops, water, and preparing her cup kept her occupied, but as the dark liquid boiled, she had nothing left to keep her mind from wandering off. The chill returned, and she couldn't help but glance behind her to the front door. It stood there innocently enough, just like always. The dead bolt was still in place, and she could see nothing amiss with it. Turning back to her coffee, she did her best to forget about the feeling. With her cup in hand, she started back towards her bedroom. As she walked by the front door, she decided that a quick glance out of the peephole would help calm her restless mind. The chill worsened with each step she took towards the door and further away from the safety and warmth of her blankets. She pressed her empty hand against the cold metal door and took a deep breath before leading her eye to the peephole. At first, she could only see an inky blackness and somehow seemed to swirl in itself. When she blinked in surprise, the void melted away. She wished it hadn't. In its place, there stood what she could only guess was once a man. The limbs were long and inhumanly awkward, with bulky joints branching off into several arms, not unlike the branches of a tree. The creature was draped in a black suit, somehow making the thing more nightmarish to her. The icing on the proverbial cake, however, was what passed as the hellish thing's face. It was as though her mind blurred the ghastly visage to spare itself further shock and horror. She shoved herself away from the door, with the hand still pressed against it. The scalding mug of coffee fell, the liquid burning her bare legs, as she fell backwards and tried to crawl away from the door. She knew, somehow, that her mind hadn't been playing tricks on her. As she walked away from the door, she watched as tendrils, as black as the void she first saw, snake around through the cracks. The girl was trapped between the instinct to flee and the gut feeling to not turn her back on the door. When the door jolted, the urge to flee overcame her, and she slipped in the burning liquid as she tried to make it back to her room. She knew deep down that she was trapping herself in a corner, but she had to get away from the door. The girl was halfway down the hallway when she heard the previously locked door creak open. She screamed and slipped into a wall, cracking her chin on it and stunning her. After that, there was only a blackness. "Nicole?" A warm male voice snapped the woman out of her trance. As she turned around, she was met by one of her sister's doctors. She nodded, not sure if she should say anything, or even if she could find her voice if she did have something to say. That morning, she had gotten an urgent phone call from the hospital saying that her sister, Lindsay, was there. Before they had even let her see her, the doctors had pulled her off to the side and insisted that they talk to her about what might have happened. Phrases like self-inflicted and assault had been thrown around, and Nicole felt her mind reel. She still hadn't fully understood what they had been saying until she saw Lindsay with her own eyes. Her little sister had a bandage wrapped around her head, covering both of her ears as well as her eyes. They said it was to keep her now deadened eyes from drying out and to try to keep infection out of the wounds Lindsay had made to her ears. The doctors had guessed that either she or someone else had jammed a pencil into them to keep her off balance or to deafen herself against something. There was a mix of first and second-degree burns on her hands, legs, and feet from what was assumed to be the coffee her neighbors found slipped all over the entry to her apartment. As Nicole walked into her sister's hospital room the first time, she thought she had spied the silhouette of a man in the window. That, she knew, was impossible. Her sister's room was on the 3rd story of the hospital. The man by the road. I was driving back from my brother's cabin late at night, somewhere in northern Oregon, the kind of stretch where your headlights are the only light for miles. I hadn't seen another car in over an hour. Around 1 a.m., I saw him. A man standing by the shoulder, thumb out, suitcase beside him. Normally, I would have kept driving, but something about the way he stood there, still, almost frozen, made me slow down. He looked mid-30s, clean clothes, just off somehow. I rolled the window down a little. "You need a ride?" He nodded once, didn't speak. I unlocked the passenger door. He got in, quietly placing his suitcase on his lap. For a while, we drove in silence. He didn't say where he was going. I asked twice, no reply. Finally, I tried again. "So, rough night?" He smiled, but it wasn't a normal smile. His lips moved, but the rest of his face didn't. Then he said, very softly, "You shouldn't have stopped." I laughed awkwardly, thinking it was a joke, but he didn't. His hands were resting on the suitcase, white-knuckled. He kept glancing at me from the corner of his eye. The road curved ahead, the forest swallowing both sides. My chest started to tighten. I reached for the radio just to break the silence. Static, no signal. He turned his head slowly toward me. "You can keep driving," he said. "It's not far." "What's not far?" I asked. "You'll see." That was it. My hands were shaking on the wheel. Every instinct screamed at me to get him out. I tried to play it cool. "Actually, I've got to get gas soon. You mind if I—" He cut me off. "No stations out here." And he was right. The nearest town was miles away. We drove another few minutes in silence before he said, almost to himself, "She said she'd pick me up too." I swallowed hard. "Who?" He didn't answer. When I glanced down, I noticed something on his wrist, dried, dark stains, like blood. Then, from the suitcase, something dripped. That's when I hit the brakes. Hard. "Out," I said. "Get out." He didn't move, just stared straight ahead. So, I grabbed the handle and opened his door myself. He stepped out slowly, suitcase still in hand, and leaned down to look at me. "You'll see it too," he said. Then he turned and walked into the trees. I floored it, heart hammering so hard I thought I'd pass out. Didn't stop until I reached a gas station an hour later. The clerk asked if I was okay. I just nodded, went to the bathroom, and washed my hands even though they weren't dirty. I needed to do something. When I came back out, a local news broadcast was playing behind the counter. The anchor's voice was calm, detached. State police are investigating the escape of convicted murderer Daniel Price. Price was last seen near Route 14, possibly carrying a black suitcase. He is considered extremely dangerous. The picture on screen, same man, same face. I didn't tell the clerk, didn't call anyone, just sat there until sunrise, trying to convince myself it was coincidence. But when I finally walked out to my car, there was something on the passenger seat. A single key, rusty, wet.